Hello, welcome to my Discovering My Authentic Leadership slideshow. Throughout the years of leadership experience, watching other leaders, I've learned a lot. Throughout this class, I've learned a lot, and there's still many things that I don't know about leadership that I still need to work on and still need to learn. And in this slide, I'll be going over all of that. The next thing we're going to be going over is what authentic leadership means to me. Now, I listed a bunch of traits here that I believe that someone needs to be a good, authentic leader, and we're going to briefly go over them all. The first trait that I want to talk about is being genuine. If a leader isn't genuine about their goal, they're not going to sacrifice so much or sink so much time into something that they don't personally care about. That's why a leader needs to be genuine with their team and genuine on their beliefs. The next one is faithful. If a leader switches teams because their team is falling under, doing bad, that's not a good leader. That's not an authentic leader. Leaders don't abandon their team. The next trait is competent, being competent. If a leader cannot fully, successfully do what they are trying to do, they're going to fail. Okay, it's one thing to ask questions. It's one thing to admit when you don't know what to do. It's another thing to completely stumble at things that you should know what you're doing, that you should be skilled, at least have a little bit of skill of what you're trying to accomplish as a leader. And if you don't have skill in that, you must be competent enough to get other people, to lead other people to do this task for you that you don't know what to do. And you must assign the right people to do the right things. That's competent leadership. You have to be competent in something. The next trait is trustworthy. If people feel like you are constantly lying, then your words will hold no weight. Telling them what to do, telling them a plan, it's not going to be as effective, and they may be most likely to work against you because people feel like they are taken aback against when they are lied to, and they are not wrong by that. The next trait is self-aware. A leader must be able to look at his or herself and see what they did wrong and see what they did right and act according to that. The next trait is adaptable. If a leader just focuses on one plan, doesn't ever change strategies, A, they're going to become obsolete, or B, if they are failing, they're never going to stop doing that action that leads them to failure. A leader must be able to look at their alternatives and see which one's right, and they must be able to switch when they are failing. Accepting is our next trait. Now, there's many leaders out there that throw good ideas in the trash, throw skilled workers in the trash because they are not accepting on who they are. Not being accepting could divide the business, and it could become more of a priority at times over production or achieving the goal. Many businesses died over this. Many groups were not up to their full potential because they weren't accepting. Last but not least, we got the confident traits. Now, a leader is bearing the responsibility of the entire group. They must be confident in their plan. They must feel like they are supporting something that they feel is true. If they are not able to get up there and stand up there and take responsibility, they are not truly a leader. In our next slide, we're going to talk about what leaders do. The most important thing that leaders do is that they create certainty. I did not say that they give certainty, and I did not say that they show certainty. What is certainty? Well, certainty is just the outcome of the goal that we are trying to achieve. It's the outcome of what a group wants. And they feel certain in that leader that we are going to make it under such leadership. Now, to show certainty means to just, well, it doesn't really give an outcome. It's more of a lie than anything. A real world example would be a business lying to their stockholders about how much profit they made. That's showing certainty. Giving certainty is more positive, but it's still not leadership. An example of this could be a parent allowing me a place to live. That's more of a caretaker than a leader. Or a manager giving me a paycheck. That's more of a manager instead of a leader. Doesn't mean parents and managers can't be leaders, but just the giving certainty or money or shelter does not make them a leader alone. But what does a leader create? How does a leader create? Well, first they lead, they forge a way, and they seek results. They're trying to create a result, and that creates certainty in the people need certainty. The leader creates that certainty that we're going to do this. Now, the image all the way on the right is a guy leading, like we said up there before. They're trying to forge a plan. They're trying to see who can do what, and then forging a way. You see the middle image right here? Let's say the leader's in back. They're delegating authority for them to do work, for them to help create this goal that they are trying to accomplish. And then all the way on the right is a bunch of analytical data. This is more of a representation of results. It could be higher profits. It could be lives saved. It could be almost anything. It's the results that the leader helped created. Now, who makes up my support system and how do they help me stay grounded? Now, I had a lot of negative experiences with this because I've trusted a lot of the wrong people. So I mostly, on an emotional level, I usually keep my issues to myself, although there are exceptions. I'm not saying I'll never have a support system, but I will be cautious about who I trust more. And from these past experiences, there's a lot you can use in leadership with this. So the few exceptions that I'll make with trusting people with my emotional needs is, one of them is if the problem relates with the other person. So let's say I have a drug addiction and the other person is addicted to that same drug, then there'll be some trust there, and I know I won't be judged wrongly. And then the other time is when the other person, when someone else is involved with the situation, it's a bit more relatable to them. They already know how I feel. They already know why. They're already involved, so might as well I'll let them help if they're willing to. And then the other thing is when I'm trying to develop a meaningful relationship. If I ever have a wife, or I have friends, like close friends, I may be a little bit more emotionally vulnerable, a little bit, to develop a relationship beyond shallowness. Now, I have a list of bullet points of why my emotional support system is this way. It's because I don't have to worry about others, or at least mitigate that risk. They can easily tell someone about it. They can easily use it against me, which is what happened to me. Also, I'm available 24/7 for myself. I'm always there for me. And it's completely impossible for someone else to be there for me. It's more of a firm foundation to rely more on myself than to let other people be the responsibility. And then also it improves self-sufficiency. A leader needs to be pretty self-sufficient. If they rely on someone else emotionally to keep working, then they're going to fall. If that other person decides that they will fall. Now, the last bullet point, I trusted the wrong people in the past. Self-explanatory. Now, there are technical things that you can learn from other people, like skills, how to be a leader, how to manage emotions on a technical level. That I can trust people with. Like, I'll ask knowledgeable people or wise people. I even may ask the internet for such thing. Like, I do have a support system. It's just a bit different because my past experiences taught me how to play things a bit more safe. As of right now, on an emotional level, I don't really know who I can go to at the moment, but I'm sure I'll find someone trusted. And I must trust the right people and have a bit more self-sufficiency, because if it doesn't work out, it's going to lead to negative consequences down the road, especially as a leader. Now, as a leader, or just in general in life, the thing that motivates me the most is it needs to be done. Okay, it could be something easy from brushing your teeth to something hard like breaking up with someone. It needs to be done. And there's a lot of internal rewards and external rewards that form from this. This sentence of "it needs to be done" is quite powerful, because look at the positive and negative results that come from this. On the pictures on the right, you got an angry boss, cars on the side of the road, dirty kitchen. If you don't do your work, your boss is going to yell at you. If you don't fill up your car with gas, it's going to be on the side of the road. dirty kitchen. There's going to be a mess everywhere. These are external negative results. Internal negative results could be you feeling sad because your boss is mad at you, you feeling scared because you're on the side of the road stranded, or you're depressed because your house is absolutely disgusting. But there's a flip side to that. If you actually do your work because it needs to be done, look at this. You got a family on the beach, you got people eating food, having a good time, and people working out. It takes a lot of work to work out. It takes a lot of work to make that money to be able to afford to go on the beach, and it takes a lot of time and effort to make that food. Look, you get food, a nice body, you get a day at the beach. Not only that, but the family is happy at the beach. There's a community forming around that food, and it feels good to have a nice body. Now, there are three main traits that I value the most, especially in terms of being a leader, is never be easily moved, grow, and be civil. The first one we're going to talk about is never be easily moved. The first one is don't try to fit in, okay? If a leader tries to fit in, first of all, that's just weak. Like, you're really going to respect an authority figure who tries to fit in with the kid? No, okay? Because they're sacrificing their own beliefs and their own identity for someone else. A leader is meant to stand firm on an identity, stand firm on a belief, and act towards that. Stand for the team. You can't just be switching teams like I explained before, all the way in the other slide. Stop trying to be agreeable. Now, look at these two politicians, okay? Whatever opinion you have on them, they do have one thing in common, is that they don't try to be agreeable. They stand on their own beliefs. They defend their own beliefs, and they don't get easily moved when they're faced with the resistance. And that is very valuable to have as a leader. Now, there's this one point that I have to go into a little bit more detail about, and that's to defend yourself, okay? It's one thing to defend your beliefs as a leader. It's another thing to just constantly feel the need to defend yourself. For example, if you were accused of robbing a bank and you try to defend yourself on why they're wrong, you're just admitting that they could be right. You're telling the crowd, yes, this person's words have meaning and I'm trying to defend. No. In that situation, a way you should defend yourself is to accuse them back. What evidence do you have? How do you know? Don't say, well, no, I was at home the entire time. No, you got to defend yourself the right way, okay? Think long and hard on how you defend yourself. The next personal value that I want to talk about is to grow. Now, I already explained this before in the past slide. You got to look at what you did right. You got to look at what you did wrong and act according to that. You see this old man teaching some kid how to, I don't really know what they're doing, but the kid is acquiring knowledge from that guy and applying it to what he's doing. That is growth. The last one is to be civil, okay? Speak with logic. Show self-respect, meaning no throwing tantrums. Don't let the other person's words have so much value to the point where you are crying and you're showing everybody that they truly hurt you. Use emotions correctly, okay? It's one thing to be mad about a war and then like some other country attacks your country. Obviously, that's the right to be mad, but you got to use that anger as motivation to form, lead, control. Don't throw a tantrum. Don't throw the logic away. People are going to respect you a lot more for that. What does being an authentic leader mean in practice? Well, I do have a very good real-life example that I can use to explain this. I run a community online that has over 7,000 people on Discord. Now, what am I even talking? It's basically just an online chat place where people could post what they feel like it. Now, there's a lot of things that I have to consider when I'm running this place. The first one is to manage staff. I need to tell people what to do, trust them, with things that I asked from them and help develop ideas with them. It takes a lot of cooperation, and I have to choose the right people for the job. The other thing is to enforce and create rules. I have to set a standard for the server. I have to draw a line of expectations correctly and fairly. I also have to address conflict that comes up because people may bicker, argue, and I have to maintain order in the server. I have to maintain activity of the server as well. A lot of this could go into what I learned in marketing. I have to keep people interested in the place, kind of like a leader in a team. The leader has to keep interest in their beliefs. Host events. I also have to host events. Like, think of someone running an event. There's a lot to do that. You have to think about what people like. You have to tell the staff what to do to help you. It takes a bit of organizing. And then I also have to forge new ideas as a leader. I have to think about what would be right for the server and think about the consequences, positive and negative, that could form from that. Now, what are the results and actions that I took from being an authentic leader? Think about what we were talking about the entire time, from things of being civil to keep the goal going, to being emotionally independent. Think about all of those slides that we've been over. The results of that is my staff work well together. Members enjoy the place, the member count increases, it becomes fun, relationships form, and people are actually willing to help me. You get good results. It's been proven. I've proven myself that I feel like that I got good results from the traits that I've talked about all throughout this slide. Now, what is my action plan and steps that I will take to continue to grow as a leader? So the first thing I need to do is find out what I need to accomplish. What can I improve? What do I want to achieve? What can I improve? What do I need to learn? What haven't I learned? All that stuff. And then I must gather information about it. How do I do this? What are the actions that I must take? What are the challenges and risks? What are the upsides, negative benefits, positive benefits that I get from this? And then the step 3 is act after I consider the consequences. And then after I act, I must reflect and call out what I did. Did I do the right thing? Do I need to go back to step 2? Do I need to go back to step 1? Just depends on the outcome. I have to think about the outcome. And number 5 is pretty important, and that's persist. I must keep going. I cannot stop. If I stop, I become obsolete. If I stop, I don't grow. I get dragged behind. Someone out there is always willing to take my place. But overall, in my closing statement, leadership is a highly important part in maintaining the success of a team, group, or community. If a leader doesn't practice the traits that an authentic leader follows, they will not create certainty, and someone will come along and take their place or face undesirable outcomes. Overall, I really enjoyed this class. I learned a lot, and I'm sure with the help of the knowledge that I learned here, I can do some amazing things. See ya.